We are live.
Yeah, but it's not, we got a minute.
I didn't realize they didn't use it. Are you on now?
Oh, I'm not, you get off. I'll check it.
This is saying that it's.
And he tried to call me, but
I didn't even ask you. I changed the proposed plan from last week. And I put the depths and foundation. And then I called this motion saying you worked on some.
we're in there, it's 4:30, we'll have that. You want to call me just text, that's all right. So I get a text message that says, we're working on it, we're here, we're working on it, we've stopped it, we still have power outage.
I think it showed me. I
I know it said the address is 4:30 Wild. Okay, they got it. I'm not sure it's the right address.
Yeah.
You want that? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's 5:30. Here to stand. I have an invitation and then we'll open the meeting. Lord, we ask that you preside over this meeting tonight. Let your spirit guide our decisions so that we make the best decisions for our community. Instill in us wisdom and sensibility to see the needs of our citizens such that our time here tonight offers long-range solutions to the many challenges ahead of us. Lord, we also ask you to watch over our men and women who are presently being deployed to an area that is threatened with instability and war. We ask that your spirit inspires our world leaders that seek peace rather than war, negotiate rather than react, and settle conflict peacefully rather than resort to violence. We ask this in Jesus' holy name. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, Mayor.
There.
Okay, I'll call this meeting to order, the regular town council meeting of August 13th, 2024. You have the agendas in front of you. Are there any changes or additions we would like to add to tonight's agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve and adopt the agenda.
Moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The consent agenda is the approval of the town council meeting minutes of July 9th, 2024. Any changes or corrections we need to make on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item number 6, citizens' comments. Joe? Yeah. No, you can stay right there.
Okay, right? I asked him to come up so the microphone's.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you'll give your name and address, please.
Okay, my name is Joe Alfonso. I'm a part-time resident here of Seven Devils. I live at 165 Grandfather Circle over by the pickleball courts. And I'm also a member of the Parks and Rec Committee. I just wanted to come here and thank the mayor and thank all your councilmen for letting me speak. I just have something that I'd like to share with, and I think would be something good for our community. I'd like to recommend, or adopt, or whatever, however, like a citizen of the year or citizen of the month person that we would honor every single, whether it's a year or a month, or it could be every couple of months, during the winter, I don't know, I know the residency kind of like, dwindles, but somebody that makes a significant contribution to the community, through, exceptional, outstanding people, and there's a lot of, people that, that do residents a lot of things here for our community that are really positive. I mean, just looking at our booklet here, we have the exercise for mature ways, okay, we have the pickleball, okay, we have the ranger workshop, we have the group hikes, okay, music on the one, community walk, group hikes. These are all people that in our community provide outstanding leadership in a sense, really do some positive things for our people here, and I think they need to be recognized. And I think some kind of a certificate or some, maybe even, we could, develop something, like with our town logo on a certificate saying in appreciation of what you do for the community. And perfect example would be the late, Bob Bridges, who, was a commissioner, but who did so much for our walks and stuff. And in my head, I have like a number of people that we can honor. So that's something we could even talk about down the road. But there's so many people here that do a positive thing for our community. And I think they need to be recognized with like a citizen of the year, citizen of the month, or something to that effect. So that's what I'm proposing to everybody. So,
Right, good idea.
but thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Joe.
Hi, I'm Sunny Hand, 160 Snowplow Drive. The Friday after next, so the 23rd, the Ruritan Club is having their event in this spot that doesn't conflict with the music here. And it's going to be on the Tweetsie Railroad. It's going to be a little longer presentation than before. And Ruritan has given a lot of things to the community, and even some granddaughters in the community here have gotten scholarships. So it's $15, you get a great dinner, drinks, desserts, no tip, but it helps the local community and when people have tough times and everything. And if you come at 5:30, then at 6:15 the presentation starts, and there's still time afterwards to do anything else.
What's the date?
And what's the 23rd, Friday the 23rd.
And it's at the,
It's at the Fosco Campground, right next to the trout farm, and between the trout farm and the church.
there's a park there. Yeah. And that's all there is.
It's in the nice building.
Yeah, it's a little building, and then you go over the little bridge, you kind of veer a little bit left.
It's a community center.
And it's a-
Community center.
So there's always good for the tons of desserts. And you don't have to tip, so that's nice.
Thank you, thank you.
Stu Ryan, 184 Rocky Top Trail. I have some data I'm going to share with you. It's very good data. It's I went through Banner Oak, Blowing Rock, Boone, and Beach ordinances, and you can see each of them have a long list of ordinances for short-term rentals. And if you see, this is Blowing Rock. They have an extensive list, very extensive list. Boone has a long list, very comprehensive list, and Beach Mountain. And these are just four first local towns I went to and see what they were doing as far as short-term rentals and ordinances. And they're on it. They are doing an outstanding job addressing the need of the town. Now, unfortunately, this blank sheet of paper is what Seven Devils is doing. We don't have anything. We're like the only one around. Can I finish this, please? Thank you. This is a very good list, great ideas. And I hope that Seven Devils will take a look at these and take some action. I guarantee these leaders, I respect what they're doing. They see an issue in their town. They deal with it in a respectful manner to protect not only their town, but their residents. And I think it's some great ideas, and I hope you take a look at them and consider, I'll get these to Hillary. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, moving on to new business, old business, we have none. New business, we have a special guest with us tonight. Mary McKinney with the, let me get this right, International Overdose Awareness Day is coming up August 31st. And I'd like, if she's got a short presentation, because I know you're on a short timetable here to get over to Bowling Rock. If you'll take the podium and address the board, I'd appreciate that. And I will read the proclamation and we'll get you need a photo?
I would love to, yeah,
Okay, we'll do that right after your address.
appreciate that. And I really do appreciate that. And hello there, well, somebody who has been postmasters with me figuring out how to get over this public speaking, so I guess I can do this kind of thing.
You're doing great.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate you considering this proclamation and giving me the time also to speak about it a bit. I was reflecting on when I was here last year, this place was full and the overflow because you had something on the list that night that a lot of folks had some feelings about. And before I left that night, I was approached by someone who works in emergency medical services who didn't have access to naloxone. And so I got him connected. So doing this sort of thing to raise awareness, but also to make that little kind of hopefully save lives. So I really appreciate the opportunity. This year's International Overdose Awareness Day theme is raising awareness about Together We Can. According to the CDC, there were 14 overdose deaths in Watauga County in 2022. And CDC's provisional data indicates the number of deaths by overdose in 2023 dropped to 9 in Watauga County. In 2022, the CDC reported 30 emergency department visits for overdose, and that reported number increased to 43 last year. It's important to recognize this increase might mean more people seeking help instead of actually meaning more overdoses are happening, and might even correlate to a decrease in the deaths. We also know that one overdose is too many. However, every time I speak to anyone who works in the fields of harm reduction, recovery, public health, or emergency medical response, they share that statistics related to overdose deaths and lives saved by overdose reversal medications are flawed because there are a lot of problems in the reporting mechanisms. And the actual numbers are surely significantly higher than those reported. Still, we hope that the provisional CDC data for last year indicates that we're making progress in saving lives. As I look at the people in this room, I am confident that if each of you who has struggled with your own substance use problems or that of someone about whom you care, almost everyone here would join me on your feet if I asked you to stand. And sadly, if I asked you to then take a seat, if you never lost someone about whom you cared to overdose death or cared about someone who survived an overdose, the majority of us will remain standing. Some of you might be feeling relieved that I didn't actually ask you to stand. And that sort of relief is usually connected to, at least in part, a sense of stigma about substance use problems and overdoses. In my role as a psychotherapist, community organizer, and church leader, I work daily to shatter that kind of stigma that keeps people from talking about the risks and losses and from seeking help. Simply, stigma kills people. Sharing our experiences and needs is key to shattering stigma so more people can seek and offer good help. Along with our county and state statistics, I will offer some numbers from my family. Some of you have heard me speak about stories from my family, including last year, and I thank you for the honor of sharing them again now in abbreviated version.
The first set of numbers from my family is impossible to estimate. That would include the number of times my daughter's lives were at risk as a result of their unmanageable substance use, the number of times my phone rang and I raced for news of the worst, and the number of times other worse things did happen, and the numbers of nights I didn't sleep because the phone didn't ring. These numbers accumulated over more than a decade. Thankfully, we are currently among the lucky ones. My older daughter has been abstinent from substance use today consecutively again for 8 months and 25 days. We anticipate celebrating 4 years of continuous sobriety for and with my baby daughter on August 17th this weekend. They are actively recovering now, but for many years they suffered in isolation and shame. As a mental health professional, I had some relevant knowledge and insight, but it was no match for the shame, terror, overwhelm, despair, and exhaustion created by the control these substances had over their brains and their abilities to make different choices for an awfully long time. As they courageously recover now, they are able to speak about the stigma they had internalized and the shame they carried that blocked them from help and put them in danger. Rewiring their brains from the harm done to them, to us, is the work of recovery. I cannot begin to offer you a quantification of my gratitude that they are alive to do this work of recovery and for us to do this work as a family. EOIW, or End Overdose in Watauga, in conjunction with International Overdose Awareness Day, is a day and an event offering encouragement and tools to help us see and love, knowing that love is a verb. To see and love people for whom substances threaten their lives and the people who love them. EOIW is a day and an event offering space to help carry the weight of grief from losing a loved one to overdose. And truly, this weight is far too much for any one person or family to bear alone. The actions of this seeing and loving include rejecting stigma about people for whom substance use becomes unmanageable or deadly. These actions include making overdose prevention and reversal information and supplies easily available and being ready to save a life. As long as there is breath, there is life, and all life is valuable. On August 31st, overdose prevention and reversal training supplies and will be available for free in various locations and times in Boone. That evening, we will gather for resource tables, space for holding grief as a community, and a candlelight vigil to remember those we have lost, led by people with the lived experience of loss of loved ones to overdose. Details of this schedule can be found on Facebook on the Overdose in Watauga's page, and will be forthcoming in the papers. In addition to shattering stigma to save and improve lives, it is also critical that people who need help have easy access to these reversal medications of naloxone or Narcan, and test strips that show them what is in their drug supply so the risk of overdose is reduced. I have organized EOIW since 2021, and since 2022, I have worked to place purple cupboards in our communities. These purple cupboards, kind of like a little free pantry or a little free library, are available 24/7 with free naloxone, fentanyl test strips, xylazine test strips, resources and information for multiple paths to recovery, and resources and information about grieving overdose, including a mailbox that I check regularly to be used for notes honoring and remembering lost loved ones to overdose, or really to any substance passing. A purple cupboard will be installed at the EOIW event site and then moved to another location at the conclusion of that time. Today, there are 3 purple cupboards installed in our county, with 2 more to be installed fairly soon, and plans for several more coming. I hope you all look for these purple cupboards. You can look it up online for the Watauga Democrat or on the Facebook page for End Overdose in Watauga. And I hope you'll contact me if you'd like to host one, or just simply have some more information about, want to have more information about them. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and council members, for considering this proclamation to increase our awareness and action, for holding Move Together, and for saving and improving lives. And thank you all very much for the opportunity to for listening to me, and for looking for opportunities to reject stigma, learn about resources, and be ready to help save and improve lives. Indeed, truly together, we can end overdose.
Thank you.
What is reading here, it says free training using of naloxone drug testing kits and free supplies. Can you elaborate on free supplies?
Of the xylazine test strips and the naloxone test strips and the naloxone Narcan, but anybody that comes to these trainings will actually be able to walk away with what supplies they need. And that's, we're doing that in that targeted way with those, in those different places in Boone, and they're in the purple covers, and it's important to know also that Homestead and at Hill, anytime somebody can walk in and say, I need these items, and that questions after they get to for free. Thank you very much.
Great effort, sure, terrific. I'll read this, but we'll get you on your way, because I know you've got a lot.
I'll stand up with you to read it.
You want to take a, you want me to read it now? Or, okay.
Right now, I'm sure.
Mr. Mayor,
Okay, whereas Seven Devils,
you have to run. You got to update.
yeah, whereas Seven Devils, North Carolina, does affirm and acknowledge the harm and hardship caused by drug overdose, whereas we recognize the purpose of International Overdose Awareness Day as remembering loved ones lost to overdose and ending the stigma of drug-related deaths, whereas we resolve to play our part in reducing the toll of overdose in our community, which claimed the lives of 9 people in Watauga County in 2023, together with countless more affected forever. Whereas we resolve to play our part in reducing deaths by overdose, knowing that 68.6% of the 4,002 overdose deaths in North Carolina in 2022 had at least one potential opportunity for intervention. Whereas we affirm that the people affected by overdose are our children, our parents, our siblings, our neighbors, and they deserve our love, compassion, and support, and easy access to life-saving supplies and treatment. And whereas we affirm that the people who love people at risk of overdose or grieve those lost are our children, our parents, our siblings, our neighbors, and deserve our love, compassion, and support, and opportunities to remember their loved ones publicly. Therefore, I, Larry Fontaine, Mayor of the town of Seven Devils, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim August 31st, 2024 as End Overdose in Watauga Day in Seven Devils, North Carolina, and encourage all residents to consider being trained in the use of life-saving overdose reversal medication and having it available to use, to seek education and resources for support of people with substance use disorders and the people who love them, and to seek education and support of people who grieve those lost to overdose deaths. This is the 13th day of August, 2024. Let's get a picture. So
We are how,
I understand.
what's the best?
what's the best,
Yeah, I would love to.
I like that.
How, where do I go there in the service?
I think just a couple of.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. What was the decision I didn't hear? Did you say a couple?
Just a couple.
You're it now.
I
heard we're going home.
Oh, we're all. This is what we did last year.
Yes, is that all right?
Yeah.
We always pay for that.
Absolutely. Even more people now.
Oh,
Thank you all so very much for this. And you want to hold this?
Sure.
We hold it together. Okay. You got everybody? Okay.
That's it.
That's great.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time. Yes, thank you for listening. It's a.
I only use one,
Okay.
so there's,
All right, thank you so much. Sorry, I thought everybody was saying, we're off the same thing.
Don't speed.
No. No chance and no accidents. It's good to see you.
Be careful of slow down.
God, those statistics are just numbing, huh?
Yes.
It's good to know that stuff is available for free. There's some issues with the,
Yeah.
all of
Police
our,
departments.
all of our patrol cars are equipped. And all of our guys got training on it.
What about, any of the, are the fire trucks
So
or?
I'll talk to you about it.
You really have to worry about our people. When they wake up, they do fire and all that. It's such a chain between, you know, the influence and the sky. Especially one that's, get that.
Yeah, actually, do you want me to explain that in front of everybody?
It'd be nice to just, Brad, just.
So, some of the members of our fire department, I don't think it would be wise for them to use it without a law enforcement presence, because sometimes when you, wake someone up with Narcan, they have a tendency to be violent, but they don't understand, and that's gone. So that's why all of our policemen have it, and any type of call like that, will definitely have a law enforcement officer on it.
Does everybody understand
Makes sense.
what that they were saying? Yeah. That is, so if you keep it to run.
But yes, every one of our patrol cars is equipped with Narcan, and all of our guys have training on how to administer.
Is that stuff horribly expensive and it expires?
We get it for free.
We can get it. Yeah. But it does expire. That's.
Okay, this is proclamation night. And,
You're so good at it.
yeah. This is a proclamation, this is item B in your, agenda. This is, proclamation, North Carolina Society Daughters of the American Revolution, DAR, Cross North Chapter, NSDAR. Constitution Week, September 17th to 23rd, 2024. Whereas it is the privilege and the duty of the American people to commemorate the 231st anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with the appropriate ceremonies and activities. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation of each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, I, Larry Fontaine, as mayor of the town of Seven Devils, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights, responsibilities which that privilege involves. In witness whereof I have here unto set my hand and cause the seal of the town to be fixed this 14th day of August in the year of our Lord 2024. And we have a signed copy, and Phyllis,
Today's the 13th.
You guys make it.
Oh, you know what? You, Mr. Mayor.
well, I didn't sign it until tomorrow.
That's what
Business lines to my office.
I'm like, how did that get in there? That's got to be a signature there.
Okay, Brad,
Left it.
have a quick follow.
I don't have my phone.
You're gonna go.
Hands gone, there's a break on the camera.
Too late. Yeah.
You're in this future.
Back to the future.
We'll send it to the paper tomorrow.
I've lost a day somewhere.
Okay, item C. Jonathan, can you explain budget amendment number 1 for fiscal year 25?
We made it a whole month and a half before we had to amend the budget, but, after we, completed our budget, I was contacted by, is her title general manager or manager, Bonnie?
Gentlemen.
General manager.
Isn't she general?
Yeah, so she contacted me and they put together their budget after we passed ours, and, our contribution is going to be $20,000 more than we had budgeted for. And, with that increase to ABC distribution, line item 10-347-00, that allowed us to hire an additional part-time member of the fire department, and that will go into salaries, which is line item 10-520-02. And, this increase in revenue from the High Country ABC store will allow the town to hire an additional part-time fire EMT. This position will work Saturdays and Sundays when we have the least amount of coverage. So, we approved that at the last meeting. Allow us to do that.
So you need a motion to approve this? Move. All those in favor? That's an easy one, yeah. And you might announce who that gentleman might be.
I've announced it at several different meetings, but I guess I've announced it at this board. That would be Mr. Tom Bookstaper. He has been, he's been a member since about when it started. So, we're glad to have Tom on board, and he will be here on the weekends to help on any medical or fire issues. So, thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, item number 9. Oh, son. That's nice to see you. Jonathan, if you'll cover the administration admin update, please.
Okay, we have paid our 4th payment on the water line project. The project is about 75% complete. They're hoping to finish it up within the next month and a half. Our town auditor will be here tomorrow for our annual audit. The dog park structure has been complete, and as soon as we get the gates, it'll be open to the public. The fire department has added an additional part-time employee for more coverage on the weekends. Our new police car has arrived and is being equipped for patrol. Our new dump truck for public works is here. We're getting the bed and the lights and stripes for that, and it will be ready to go this winter.
Now, let's talk about that a little bit. What is that going to enable us to do the second truck?
So that will allow us to cut the amount of time it takes for snow removal in the wintertime in half. So right now, the way we do it is we have 2 pickup trucks that go to scrape the roads, and they go back, get the 1 dump truck and put the chat down the road. Having 2 dump trucks with plows on them, we can plow and spread the chat at the same time, and it doubles our output. So it should cut our road clearing laps by more than half. So we're not having to change out different equipment, and and it'll also help in this summertime when we're cleaning out ditches. A lot of the time is spent digging, or very little time is spent digging, and a lot of time is spent hauling it off and dumping, and the guy operating the machine just sits there and waits in the back. Now this will double our output for cleaning out ditches and culverts. So I think it's a good addition to the town's workforce, and we want to thank the TVA for making that purchase.
May I go back and ask a question about something?
Sure.
With the dog park, you say we're waiting for the gates to be installed. Now, how are we gonna make sure that, what's gonna be the procedure to make sure that, the dogs that are there have their vaccinations and that?
Jewel is working with other parks and rec directors to get a list of rules and outlines on what we can do as a town and
Okay.
what kind of rules that are popular in this area. I've not spoken with her on what she's nailed down, but we'll present those to you probably next 2 weeks from today at the TDA meeting.
Thanks.
We'll have signage that'll,
Yes, sir, with the town rules and the park open time and clean up after your dogs and things like that. So we'll have all that stuff in place before we actually open it to the public.
is it true that, during a snowstorm, it takes us 6 hours to make one round?
With plowing and going and getting the dump truck and doing that problem.
Okay, so that's
And
gonna.
it takes over 3 hours just to push it with 2 trucks going.
Okay, the problem we get into is heavy snowfall. It gets to the point where our trucks can only plow one lane. It becomes so much snow that we can't move the snowbank back. But this should help that. Because
And to be honest with you, the police cause a lot of the delays because we rely on public works to come help us when we have cars stuck and things like that. So I'm hoping if we can have the roads in better condition, we won't have as many accidents and we won't be taking the time where they should be doing something else, helping us with stranded motorists. So this should help that tremendously. So
thank you.
the Watauga County Board of Elections will hold a nonpartisan town hall to explain how ballots and your votes are secured. That is taking place on August 21st from 6:30 to 8 p.m. in the Parkway Ballroom in the student union at Appalachian State University. So it's just to explain how the voting system works in North Carolina, if anybody's interested. Parks and Rec meeting is scheduled for August 15th at 9 a.m. We have a Public Works meeting scheduled for August 20th at 10 a.m. TDA meeting scheduled for August 27th at 9 a.m. A Public Safety meeting scheduled for September 3rd at 10 a.m. And you guys don't have this one in your packet because we just got it today, but effective tomorrow, due to the ongoing construction on the water line project, a road closure is necessary on a portion of Wildcat Rock between Edgecliff Lane and Knob Hill Lane. The road closure will occur between the hours of 7:30 and 4 p.m. beginning on the 14th and continuing for an indefinite length of time. Detours options include the following: Seven Devils Road to Edgecliff Court, Highcliff Circle, Wildcat Rocks, Seven Devils Road to Edgecliff Circle to Knob Hill, Wildcat Rocks. We do have a copy of the map for anybody that's affected by that, and it's also posted on our website.
Indefinite, that word scares me.
Until they're finished.
Yeah, but
Okay.
So Kevin thought it might be as quick as 3 days. He said that as soon as he says 3 days, they may hit rock. So they're kind of thinking maybe more,
Good.
a week, 10 days. Once the detours go on, then you'll be able to.
Yeah.
They look wrong, both states.
Oh, I do have another question or whatever. The playground the playground looks really good. Are there plans in the future to plant some trees around it to shade?
But we have plans to plant trees in the park, but we're gonna wait till we do all the construction because we don't wanna plant trees and then have machinery in here. So once all of our current obligations are taken care of, then we'll go about the tree.
Makes
Plant
sense.
So if you'll look at, Hillary took some pictures of the playground and cars course, the dog park. This playground is way more popular than I thought it was gonna be. There's at least 20 kids down here every day.
There was something, I don't know if it was over the weekend, but they had tents set up out there and lights.
Someone had a birthday party out
Wasn't
there.
that wonderful? I was so happy to see that.
Yeah, so it's coming along. It's not happening quite as fast as we hoped, but it's happening.
Can I ask a question? Am I allowed to speak?
But it's up to them.
May I speak?
Yes.
No, about these, I saw that, when you were saying party look great. Do they need a permit for that? Is that something that, I guess, we're gonna have to, have something like permits to have that allowed?
No, they called and asked, and I gave them permission. I just told them, it's not complete yet. I didn't know if there would be any construction. They called a couple months ago, but, it's a public park, so if you would like to, once we build the pavilion, we're gonna have a lot of people going out there and having, events. So, right now, there's no permitting process required.
I'm just curious if, it got really congested at some time. Thank you.
The bid packages for the remainder of the projects, where are we with that? This is the end of August, and
That's when we're supposed to get them at the end of August. I've not heard an update. I spoke with him, the last day I spoke with him, when you and I spoke with him, he went to check on that property on Chestnut, so.
okay, did he write up anything about that property?
I haven't seen it if he had.
Remind him of that. Thank you, John. Any questions about the items? Any comments or questions you may have on any of the committee reports?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
On the Public Safety Committee,
Mhm.
down here, it says that, planning board did not meet in July will be tasked with recommending 9/11 street addresses on each building be required, visible from the road, in the town of Utica, compliant with Potawatomi County. If we have our 911 reflective sign, out by the road, do we need to have the house number on the house also?
No, that's either or, I think. So, Watauga County currently already has that
I
ordinance.
know.
But what we want to do is make it a town ordinance so that it affects both counties. And, it's for the benefit of the people needing help, because if you call 911 and need help, you probably want us to be able to find you. So,
I just got my sign put in today, so I was making sure I didn't need to put one on my house.
yeah, so it's either or. It just has to be visible so that, at 3 a.m, when Tom's looking for you, he can find you. And, as of right now, the Avery County side doesn't have to do it, but if the town does decide to pass the ordinance, then it would become a city entire.
And we've had problems in Avery County finding homes.
We have problems with Watauga County because people don't do it.
Well, the address is a little screwy there.
Thank you.
If you don't have one of those reflective signs, where do you get them?
You can see Miss Hillary and we can order you the sign for $50 and you can put it in yourself, or for $100, Public Works will install it with pole and all the stuff. So, come by and Hillary takes the order and we order them from Midland, so we can get them in just a couple days.
Just to clarify, $50 just gets you the sign,
Correct.
$100 gets you the whole,
Gets it installed at your house.
but it gets the holder and everything.
Yes. And that's just what it costs us.
No,
So,
yeah, but it's-
the town's not making any money on those. We actually lose.
ABC board, any updates or comments, ABC?
I don't think so. We have started having our ABC officer come, give us reports each month now, so that's been interesting. And he kind of explained to us at the first meeting last month, kind of what his process is, what he does for us, and inspects all the ABC permittees, and so that was interesting, I thought, for our board. We continue to be very successful, and we are struggling with the water leak that we're working on, but that doesn't seem to be resolved yet, so we continue on.
Thank you.
Time?
What's that?
We're-
No, I'm going to, one comment I had, are we noticing, I'm looking at the activity log, police log. Are we noticing a spike during the heavy tourist season?
We do have more law enforcement interactions during summertime. Well, and when it snows, we see an uptick, and most of those are due to visitors to the town. And we had a couple vandalism calls this month, people spray painting some things on some light poles and on the water tower, and we've gotten those cleaned up, but those are some things that we're noticing that we haven't seen very prevalent in the past.
Did they do the chain blue? You guys didn't do the chain
No,
blue.
they did. No,
I don't know, but if.
I was wondering because the chain, not behind my house, but,
Oh, I guess they painted it so that people would see it and not run over it.
but they don't usually paint it blue. I was wondering if that was a thing.
We have had some vandalism in town, we had some scams in town, people calling, talking to an elderly person and getting some money taken. We're working on those cases right now, but that can happen year round. That's not in
That's a national.
yeah, that's. But we have had an uptick in police interactions over the summer.
Any other comments on the committee reports? Council comments?
One question for the manager. Scott or Seven Devils when it turns at Town Hall, it's the skyline. There's like two trees kind of hanging. Is that state or?
That is the state. Eddie actually went up there and talked to you guys today. So that's in the state right away, or it could be in the electric company right away. That's why Eddie went up there to check and give some advice on how we can get those taken care of. They are threatening some electrical lines and they need to come down. So,
Yeah, and I just also wanted to clarify for everyone who, like, I wasn't sure.
yeah, the town cannot do that, but we can contact the appropriate authority to try to get those money.
You were all sent a late email from Jonathan about how in the world do we sell property? And Jonathan, can you kind of summarize what those three things are?
There's generally three ways to do it. You can have what's called a negotiated upset bid. Somebody says, hey, I'll pay you $10,000 for that lot. And the council says, that's great. So you do that, but then you have to advertise for an upset bid after that. And if somebody pays an upset bid, which I think is just 5% more than the existing bid, then Hillary has to re-advertise. Somebody else comes, and if the other guy comes in with an upset bid, and I've seen situations where in Watauga County would like go down to the courthouse and one would file an upset bid and then the other would do it, and then just go back and forth and back and forth. And that can add a lot of work to Hillary and also some expense because you have to keep republishing that in the newspaper. Another is to have a live auction. Just advertise, we're having an auction, high bid wins. That, I haven't been personally involved with one of those, but my law partner has not had good results with those and doesn't recommend them. And the third is everybody's favorite online government dumping ground, govdeals.com. The statute does allow us to sell property electronically. And there's the process built in there. There will be some upfront work for the clerk, but then it's supposed to be a lot easier as far as ongoing, what's ongoing. And I know that a lot's been sold on GovDeals. I've had town managers tell me, stuff they thought would never sell for that, sold for that.
We've used it to purchase things, like police cars and.
And we sell all of our surplus public works equipment, law enforcement equipment on the website, so we have an account already.
Well, we are required to use a particular one of those three.
You're not required to use govdeals.com. That's just the you're allowed to use an electronic one. That's the only one I'm familiar with.
Okay.
And I know other municipalities use govdeals.com.
That sounds like we'll continue.
The statute says you can do it electronically.
Okay, now, if you give just a recap, you just mentioned before the meeting, our public works manager, Kevin.
That's not the property that we're considering accepted. That's, so Kevin went around and identified all of the delinquent properties in town with held on a map, and they're deciding which ones would be worth the town's time and money to foreclose on. And he did find a lot that is very adequate for a water tower. So if those property taxes continue to go unpaid and nobody bids on those out of foreclosure, the town could take control of that property and have another potential site for a water tower. So our attorneys will be involved in the process once we decide which properties are worth time and effort to foreclose on.
But we could sell the property on the.
Well, you have to go through the foreclosure process.
But what we're talking about selling is a different thing. We already own those.
That's what I'm.
So, yes, those are properties that were in foreclosure and they were just donated to the town.
Yes.
And so, but the other properties are currently owned by someone who's failed to pay property taxes for the last 3 years. So,
30 years, I'll say it out loud.
3 years.
Oh, I
At 3 years.
Thank you. No property tax payment on these properties for 3 years.
Just a question, you said electronically, like, if I had a lot and I wanted to sell, I'd go to a real estate agent. Does that qualify, like, if they're electronically, do they do have electronic means, or not what you're?
Let me pull the statute. Council may conduct auctions of real or personal property electronically by authorizing the establishment of electronic auction procedure or by authorizing the use of existing private or public electronic auction services. Let me scan down this. Basically, it has to identify the property. Notice does have to be published. It can be in the newspaper or by electronic means or both. I mean, it's not very specific. I mean, you can do it electronically, and it has to properly identify this as the property and meet those requirements. But the govdeals.com is, you could, well, if you listed it with a real estate agent, then you would still have I think you'd still have the upset bid requirement.
But at the deals, you set a price and that's the price it goes for.
And then they can bid on it.
They bid on it.
It goes to the highest bidder when it's finished.
Gotcha.
Okay. The town could set a minimum bid.
I'm actually not sure. I don't
I did
see
read it.
why not. Normally we put.
Yeah, there are minimums, like when we
For
sell
sale.
excess patrol cars, we can set a minimum. And if it doesn't meet that threshold, it doesn't sell.
I don't think it has to be an absolute auction. An absolute auction is high bidder gets it. It doesn't matter what they bid, but you can have a reserve.
And I did read that also the settlement of the auction of the highest bid is still dependent on approval of the council.
Yes. Council.
So we could actually reject the
Yes.
auction.
Absolutely. The proposed, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, that's correct. And we've got a proposed ordinance. We all will look at that.
I sent it to you guys this morning, but we did have time to put it for tonight's meeting. So when you get a chance, if you want to take a look at it. Oh, Lee has it.
Council comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Wait 1 second, okay.
Sorry.
I do have a comment, we had a gentleman present ordinances from 4 or 5 communities, and Jonathan, you're familiar with with those ordinances on STRs. I think we need to evaluate those things. In many areas of our ordinances cover a lot of those things. But I guess my question to you is, when you have ordinances specifically aimed at STRs, is that a problem?
Well, under the city of Wilmington case, it is if you try to enforce them.
So
You can have them,
Frankly-
you can't enforce them.
Frankly, Blowing Rock has its problems before the city, Blowing Rock had big problems before the city of Wilmington.
And I've given all you guys copies of the opinion in Wilmington, and it strictly prohibits things that you can't do. But if you go to that last page, I think it's page 12 of the opinion, there are some things that we can't do. But most of the things we can do, we already have an ordinance that does that. It's just not listed as a short-term rental ordinance. And those include trash, weeds, noise, and parking. So most of the things that you're legally allowed to do, we already have ordinances in place for those that are.
So our page is not really empty then, huh?
I would say no.
I wanted some clarification on that, because I don't, I'll take any criticism that's offered, but,
At this time, we do not recommend a short-term rental ordinance. Until, some of the big boys want to fight it, and they win, and great, we'll do it.
well, that's been our position for quite some time.
It's gonna attract problems.
It was very painful for one of the towns that he listed, tens of thousands of dollars were spent, and they lost.
Well, I know Blowing Rock got hit, and I don't necessarily think it was because of the Wilmington case, it was just.
They got hit before the women decided.
They got hit hard.
And it's not because we don't care about any of that, it's because we'll do what we can legally. And, we don't have deep pockets like these places.
The Court of Appeals was
Can't afford
very
that.
blunt, and you cannot do these things, so we do not do those. My job as the manager, there's only a couple of statutory requirements, and mine is to not let you pass illegal rules and laws, so,
I'm kind of a fan of that too.
as long as I'm your manager, we're going to try to avoid things that are strictly prohibited.
You guys are gonna follow the law?
They'd like to.
Well, passing ordinances that you can't defend, I've never understood the rationale behind that. So, thank you for answering that question. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Move.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone, for coming.